Hey guys, in this video I would show you how to have immense pleasure with your spouse while making sweet love with specific techniques along the way. Are you ready? But first, let's dive into what good sex really is. The truth is, it depends. There is no universal answer for what good sex is. Good sex may change as you get older and learn more about yourself and your sexuality, or basically you would figure out that what is good with a past partner may not work with a current one. So good sex leaves you feeling satisfied, but the type of satisfaction you want may vary. Sometimes it may be about an emotional connection. Other times you might just simply want physical pleasure and the release of orgasm. But there are people who need something more kinky or extreme for sex to be good, while others just prefer more vanilla lovemaking. So honestly, I think that good sex is whatever you want it to be. So you need to know yourself, your body, your desires before you can have it. However, the best sex happens when your partner knows all of this about you and you also know this about him. So the honest truth is that if you want to have good sex, you might not get it with a casual partner, but it has to be with someone that you have built something with. Now let's talk about before the foreplay. Now you might already realize that what you do and how you feel before sex has a serious impact on how good that sex is. So if you're feeling especially connected to your partner, or he's so attractive that you couldn't possibly keep your hands off him even if you tried, then you know exactly what naturally happens, right? But if you and your partner are fighting, unless the fight has ended and you want to make up, all right, like the make-up sex, or you're with a new partner who hasn't yet earned your trust, you might feel a little bit hesitant and you might just end up with sex that isn't so good if you tried. This is because about 30% of women have what's known as responsive desire. So if you have responsive desire, you don't randomly feel horny. Instead, you need some specific things to experience these desires. This may mean you need to feel loved, or you need to see or hear something before feeling ready for sex. It may be a certain touch that does it for you. For some people, desire doesn't just appear until after physical arousal starts. So you may find yourself wanting sex only after you start fooling around, and this is completely normal. Now, if this sounds like you, then you may need to encourage yourself to have sex if you're not in the mood for it yet, because you know eventually you will be in the mood for more of the action as the action is currently going on. However, there is a fine line to walk. Now, if you want to have good sex, you should stop having sex for other people. Only have sex that you want. Have sex for yourself, for your satisfaction. But if you know that you will feel satisfied once you have sex, even if you're not in the mood right now, you might choose to forge ahead even when the emotion or the feeling isn't there. Now, this is for women who complain all the time to their husbands about how tired they are and they can't do sex with their husbands, maybe because of work. Another way to have immense pleasure with your spouse is acknowledging the build-up, which is essential to having good sex. I mean, build-up is just basically when you've decided to want to have sex. You don't want to rush into anything. Instead, you want the momentum to build. You want to savor it. It means you're taking your time, especially with the build-up. Build-up might take the form from sexting throughout the day to taking showers and shaving and putting on sexy outfit or lingerie, whatever it is that makes you feel sexy and sexual. Just do it. Build it up to that momentum. And then also teasing or just being flirty all day with your mate without diving into the main course meal is another way to build up, all right? Now, this is where we touch down on you being able to flirt and tease. It's essential that you flirt with your partner. And yes, even if the two of you have been together for years or for decades, don't go a day without teasing, without flirting. Remember what it was when your relationship was just still very new and young and the two of you were still very unsure. If you can remember, you would notice that during that early times, anxiety increased the sexual tension between both of you. Now, that's something you need to bring back to your relationship if it's dead already. And I tell you, this sexual tension is crucial to having not just good and amazing sex, but mind-blowing sex. So Touch him in a flirtatious way, but not sexual way, all right? Laugh and tilt your head backwards. Lean into him when you speak. You could do all of these things when you watch a movie from your sofa. You could even do it over a home-cooked meal, or even during, a first date after a long time. And you would also find out that taking things agonizingly slowly helps to build the sexual tension in your relationship. So tease one another by lightly touching your partner. Touch him over his clothes. Put his hands on yours. And try everything in this video on how to tease your man. I have everything right there. Go over and learn how to tease your man. Give him a glimpse of what's underneath your clothes by pulling up your skirt or your gown, or pulling down your strap. Just wiggle your hips a bit as you walk in front of him. By the time you come together for the first kiss, it will be like lightning has struck both of you. Now, you might want to rush things, and I don't blame you if that's the case. But if you could continue the slow pace, there will be a big reward, because studies have shown that many women require more stimulation than men to achieve orgasm, between 10 and 20 minutes or so. So the longer the build up, the more likely you will think the sex is good. Plus, a greater variety of activities also increases your chances of having a mind-blowing orgasm. Now, I would advise you that both of you should try getting comfortable and take all the time in the world so as to allow your worries melt away, worries of the world, worries of your work. The truth is that if you're not comfortable, you will just be unlikely to fully relax, and relaxation is a great integral part of having great sex. And of course, comfortability might take the shape of physical contact. So make sure that the sheets are clean, the apartment is clean, the room is, at a comfy temperature. And I know that if you're with a new partner, it's understandable to feel a bit of anxiety, because you will worry about if he likes you or your body type. You may even find yourself wondering how compatible both of you are in bed. But with a casual partner, it's just as important to become comfortable. But definitely it will be different with someone that you know better. All right, the anxiety will be a lot lesser if you're with someone that you know already. So if you're with a new person, you might want to have a drink, but not so many that you cannot consent. You might also want to cuddle to get used to his physical preference, and you could turn down the light so that you feel like you are in the spotlight with this guy. Have condoms or dental dams on hand, because you might not really know when things get really nasty. Now, to the actual making love. At this point, you are in a state of undress. You both are unable to keep your hands off each other. You're exploring every inch of your partner's body with your hands and your mouth in whatever that you have going. And you must also realize that there is no part of your body that can't be sexual. Your collarbone, your boobs, your neck, your ears, your hips, your thighs, even the back of your knees can be an erogenous zone. So this is where you must indulge in more intense foreplay, because that's the time to remember how hot it is to make out with your partner. You kiss deeply and you grind your bodies together. Then when you can't stand it no more, pants and underwears come off. You find out that your hands are caressing genitals as you breathe against each other's skin, or you moan into each other's mouth, and then your mouths move southwards to lick, suck, and basically just stimulate your partner. You're slotting in those deep kisses during the manual or oral sex movement, which indeed completes the activity that helps either the woman come off or the man deeply aroused. The fact is that you may have already orgasmed before the main action, but this is where I think things are just getting started. And it brings us to the point on how to have good sex in a moment. First things first, protect yourself. Before penetration of any kind, please reach out for a condom. You can even unroll it on your partner. You could unroll it on your man. That's a move that I think that is sexy, because when you know you're protected from STIs or STDs and getting pregnant, you feel more relaxed and comfortable to do whatever you need to do. You can just focus on what's happening and not worry about the consequences. And then secondly, use lube. Lube makes a world of difference when it comes to sex play. Even if you're fully turned on, lube can make the initial penetration a lot easier. This slick and slippery stuff is a game changer because it eases discomfort during thrusting and it lets you remain comfortable as long as the sex goes on. Because the truth is, not every woman can stay wet for the duration of sex. So don't ignore the lube, all right? Thirdly, initiate. Grabbing that condom shows that you want sex, right? So stripping down yourself or taking off your partner's clothes and, straddling him is a great way to initiate sex when you want it, and your partner will definitely appreciate it. So the fact still remains that several studies have found that women initiate sex less often than men back in the day, but now women are doing more initiation than they once did in the past. So flipping the script might breathe fresh air into your sex life if you're not that type of person. And then again, if you want to have great sex, you must show enthusiasm. Make eye contact, smile, reach out and touch your partner, and continue to use your full body for pleasure. You could try dirty talk to let him know how much you enjoy it, how much you want him to do whatever he's doing to you. Moan breathlessly into his ears. Those noises encourage your man, and you can even let him know when you want him to come. And just verbally massage his ego. All right? Whatever you do, don't just lie there like a log of wood or like a starfish. Then take control. If you ask a lot of men what gets them crazy about their women in the bedroom, I am just certain that 80% of men will run crazy for a woman who craves them enough to take control in the bed. Men think there is nothing hotter than when their women take control. So flip him so that he's on the bottom and then ride him. Ride him nuts. The goal here is to use him for your pleasure until you orgasm. Men use women for their pleasure. Why can't women also use men for their own pleasure? Orgasm at your pace. Pin his arms above his head. Hold his head in place as he goes down on you. You can even be directly dominant and tell him what to do. Tie him up or even spank him. All right? Show dominance, show control. They love it. And if you're not the type who likes control, that's okay too. You can be submissive in the bed and still have fun. Now, another way to have great sex is staying in the moment. It's no news that women have a hard time staying in the moment. And so it is that you might find yourself having trouble staying in the moment too. You might even end up monitoring what's going on and judging your performance or your looks. Now, this is sometimes known as spectatoring. Honestly, it's easier said than done to stop this kind of attitude. In fact, just simply telling yourself to stop will only lead you to judge yourself more. Instead, I would advise that you focus on how things feel. Close your eyes if that's going to help you. If you have a distracting thought, notice it, then let it go and redirect your attention to what's going on in the moment. The more you do this, the more it will become second nature. And this is part of the process known as mindfulness. And practicing it can increase, sexual satisfaction and pleasure for women. It can even help you learn how to come a lot quicker. Because I think one of the reasons why we can't come quicker is because we're not in the moment. Now let's head on to another way to have great sex with your man. Ask for what you need, women. Don't assume he knows. If you leave him to his devices, he will do the opposite of what you want him to do. This man can be clueless sometimes, all right? So when you're having sex for your own pleasure and not just for your partner, you might need to ask what you want, whether that's a specific activity or a certain technique that you like, or simply an adjustment, something like him going harder or softer or faster or slower to the left or to the right, whatever you like. Fortunately, a breathless request often does the trick without taking you out of the moment. So if you're taking charge, you can make this an order, or simply just move his hand or his head, or, just move his joystick wherever you want it to go. All right? Whatever you want it to go. Because this can help to let your partner know beforehand what you really want, what gets you off, what takes you off, before the clothes come off. And then lastly, to have great sex, you must learn to switch positions, because some women or men may just want to stay in the same position during sex. Not like it's a bad thing, but changing position just, spices things up a little bit. So let your partner know what you need. There's so many positions to try to keep things fresh. You have doggy style that can stimulate your G-spot as a woman. You have cowgirl that puts you in control. You have thigh tights that offers you clitoral stimulation. You could try a dozen of other positions just for something new or just to have different sensation. That's it. That's how you can have great sex. All right, let's leave it here until my next steaming episode coming your way very soon. All right, stay blessed and know that I love you. Prosper in all you do. Keep a great relationship going, and see you when I see you. Oh, my love. Mwah.